Hey gang, I got something for you. We all know email marketing is one of the few activities that directly leads to sales for our businesses. I love sending messages to my list and watching the responses, leads, and sales come in day and night. But email marketing has been beaten and bruised by a lot of shady marketers over the years. That's why I listen to a podcast called The Email Marketing Show. Rob and Kennedy teach psychology-based email marketing in a way that is enjoyable for you and your subscribers, making email valuable and extremely effective. The show is fun, no matter what your email savviness might be. Subscribe by searching for the Email Marketing Show wherever you get your podcasts or visit emailmarketingheroes.com.
LinkedIn believes B2B marketing can be B2 brilliant, B2 bold, and B2 breakthrough. How? With a platform purpose built to make B2B marketing mean more for your business. A platform with tools to help you build better relationships with your key customers, to boost your buyer's journey while building your brand. A platform with trusted data and lead generation you need to beat your KPIs, drive ROI, and stand out amongst the competition. And with the targeting tools on LinkedIn, you can reach your precise audience right down to their job title, company name, location, and more to make sure your ads are always seen by those who matter. So let's get ready to be too boldly go where no marketer has gone before, because LinkedIn is where B2B is everything it can be. Rethink your B2B marketing ads and get $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Digital Marketing Dive, a podcast where we explore the depths of online marketing. I'm your co-host, Olivia.
And I'm Seth.
And together, we'll be talking with marketing industry vets and giving you our own takes on everything happening in the space. So, let's dive in.
Hey gang, welcome to episode 8 of season 3 of Digital Marketing Dive. Today we have Kent Lewis, the Chief Marketing Officer of Deksia. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Deksia.
I pronounced it right the first time. Nice. Which bought out your firm, Anvil Media, right? Is that what I remember from when we first met?
You are 100% correct.
Awesome. And Kent, you're also the founder of PDX Mindshare, which is Portland Mindshare. And we'll talk more about that in the episode. But you're also a public speaker because we met at the Digital Summit in Philadelphia. And you like to share a lot of your knowledge on LinkedIn, which is awesome. So follow him on LinkedIn. So welcome to Digital Marketing Dive, Kent. How's it going?
It's going great. It's a pleasure to be a part of your podcast.
Oh, I'm thrilled. Sure. I'm thrilled. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who's Kent Lewis and where did he come from?
Yeah, so my mom, and so I'm from Seattle, Washington originally, went to school up there. And then after I couldn't get a job in Washington, I went south till I hit Portland, and people were desperate enough to hire me back in the mid-90s to do PR.
Wow.
But within a year and a half of starting my high-tech PR career, they launched a sister agency that was a web development shop, and they said, we need some help with marketing. And eventually I moved downstairs to the sister agency and learned SEO, search engine optimization, what we called web marketing. It wasn't digital marketing back then, and have been building teams ever since. So I've been a founder of 2 agencies, co-founder of 2 agencies, founder, co-founder of 2 entities, SEM, PDX, and PDX Mindshare. Notice the PDX theme. And then I also have been fired from 2 agencies, which is why I went out on my own. I realized I was unemployable.
Well, apparently you are unemployable because you're now working for Deksia. But that's more because they gave you a lot of money.
It was so much time had elapsed. They didn't realize that they didn't do their homework back 22 years to realize why I originally started my own company. But so far, it's actually honestly gone really well. They're out of headquarters is in Grand Rapids.
Ooh.
And we're the 4th office. We're the West Coast office, and it's been a lot of fun. Honestly, more fun than I thought to be an employee at a company that does good work and is full of fun people. And I'm getting too old for this running business stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Losing my hair and so forth. So it's been wonderful just to be hired ostensibly to be the thought leader and evangelist for the brand.
That's awesome because, you're right. When you get to a certain age, you're like, you might try to do what you want to do and not have to do all the other crap.
So I'd love to hear a little bit more about Anvil and how you ended up being acquired from Deksia and how you've been able to kind of fit into that Deksia picture.
Yeah. I've learned a lot of lessons, and I'll share another link to an article that is a compilation of 25 years of my learnings as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a running an agency, and being in the digital marketing world for so long. But I built what I call a Wankel engine of marketing, meaning if you know anything about cars, the rotary engine has three moving parts, which is insanely simple. And so we were SEO by root. That's what I knew. Digital advertising, we call it paid media, which is a majority of what we do because that's mostly what people want managed. And then, other things, organic social. When we met, Seth, I was talking about the Metaverse,
Yes.
Web3. So I'm always trying to stay ahead of the curve as an evangelist and a thought leader. But what's interesting is in 2013, I nearly shut down the agency after 13 years because I didn't like going to work. My team didn't respect me. My clients were indifferent, and I needed to restructure the whole thing. So I blew it up. I wrote this credo. Half my team, I gave them, you got, whatever it was, 72 hours to sign on to this credo, how we're going to work moving forward. Half the team didn't, and it was really hard to replace them because there is no degree still in what we do that I believe is worthwhile. So with that said, I rebuilt the company over the next 9 years, and Deksia came after me a year and a half or more ago and said, "Hey, we like what you're doing." I shared some numbers. They're like, "These are amazing numbers." I said, "I'm not really that interested in selling. I think you guys are a little too small to swallow me." And they were like, "Okay." And then every quarter, the CEO, Aaron, would check back and he's like, "How you doing? How's business? How are you?" And eventually he just straight up called me. Yeah, he said, "It's time to go. We need you." My wife wanted to get out of running operations. My team needed a bigger structure in which to grow. My clients needed a broader set of services, and I wanted to just be an evangelist. I would do it for free, but don't tell them that. I love doing what I do.
That's off the record.
So it worked really well. But to your point, Olivia, it's not without its bumps. It's really hard to integrate two agencies, and I have been a part of 10, and I have seen a few minor acquisitions go very poorly. This one has gone by far the best, and I'm not biased here. If it didn't go well, I wouldn't even be here.
Sure.
I'm not in it for the money, as I said. And so they've done a great job because they've got a good heart and smart people, and the clients believe in us. We built so much equity with our clients that they're patient. As a couple of people left, they didn't buy into the Deksia vision, and it's tragically, I think, short-sighted on their part, but that's their choice. It's the great resignation. And the core team that's still here is loving it. And we have a visitor from our Denver office here for another week. So there's somebody visiting every week all summer. We rented a house here so they could get to know and integrate with us, and we integrate with them. So it's been a real an adventure, but also far more fun. And also, I don't have to carry the load that I've been carrying for 22 years as the everything for everybody.
I can imagine.
So I've been enjoying that.
Hey gang, want to take a quick break, thank our sponsor, and get back to the show. LinkedIn believes B2B marketing can be B2 brilliant, B2 bold, and B2 breakthrough. How? With a platform purpose-built to make B2B marketing mean more for your business. A platform with tools to help you build better relationships with your key customers, to boost your buyer's journey while building your brand. A platform with trusted data and lead generation you need to beat your KPIs, drive ROI, and stand out amongst the competition. And with the targeting tools on LinkedIn, you can reach your precise audience, right down to their job title, company name, location, and more, to make sure your ads are always seen by those who matter. So let's get ready to B2 boldly go where no marketer has gone before, because LinkedIn is where B2B is everything it can be. Rethink your B2B marketing ads and get $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah.
So 20 years you've been in the digital marketing space. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of change in the marketing space. Can you highlight some of the changes that you've seen?
So the first thing I noticed is when I started doing digital marketing, when it was just pretty much SEO and some banner ads, I spent I think there are 3 waves that I experienced. The first wave from 96 to 2001 was, 5 years of pure education. I had to tell my clients what they needed to buy and why they needed it. And it was the Wild West. I had virtually no competitors in the city of Portland. And so the benefit was it was me leading the way. The downside is I was chopping through the bush, right? I was working, I was doing all the heavy lifting, and people came in after me, and good on them. But that was the hardest. It was still inspiring. I was young, I had extra energy, so it was perfect timing for my career. But the sweet spot was 2001 to 2011 was not much education, still plenty of margin, not too many competitors. I never had a sales team. I didn't need one. The phone would ring, the emails would come in. So that was where I made most of my earnings and set up my future. And then in 2012, I realized, oh wait, we're screwed. Like I started to see our structure didn't age with the time. Our service mix wasn't evolving as fast. My team was getting in their, Portlandia. They're getting Portlandiitis at 33. They're like, it's probably time to retire. So I needed new team, new energy, new everything. And so that's when it took me a year to figure out, like, I need a credo. It was driving me crazy. So we did that. And I brought in a longtime friend who was my biz dev, recruitment, sales, and some account management. He wore a lot of hats. For the next 9 years, he helped me get to the sale. And even though he's decided he's going to go do something else, he's still getting a check, every month for 4 years for being a part of that build.
He's earned it,
yeah, as part of the earnout. So I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the people that have helped build this that have since left. Everybody contributed, but this team today is who I'm caring about. And part of a merger that's important to me is I could have left. I could leave at any time, and they certainly wouldn't hold it against me. They want me to stay. They want to make it interesting. So I have equity in Deksia. But the opportunity is make sure my team is taken care of, make sure my clients are taken care of, and then evangelize for Deksia until they're like, we don't need you anymore. And I'll be ready to. I will be a Walmart greeter, or I'll be a bartender, whatever it is.
That's awesome. So what? Oh, go ahead.
So Jess, I want to piggyback off that a little bit. So you mentioned that 2012 was kind of the stalling point. Was that because of the ubiquity of social media, or was it other people getting into the game at that point? What was going on?
So in short, there were a couple problems. It was a perfect storm. So when I started, our clients knew so little about what we did that I could cross-train everybody to be, I was building an army. So by that, I mean, everybody could do everything. SEO, paid, some lightweight social. I've been doing social since 98 when I was trying to tell kids on bulletin boards and chat rooms not to steal music from the recording industry as a client. And that was pointless. It was fun, but it was pointless. Yeah. So, social media changed a few things, and it still continues to. I think Web3 is the next social, right, in terms of energy and a distraction and opportunity. But what I found was we didn't have the right structure, and suddenly I needed specialists, and my team wasn't great at communicating. I wasn't seeing. I will tell you, one of my lessons, and I'll share my compilation article, is profit was the enemy. I had no incentive to make change because I thought I was driving a Ferrari and I had Ferrari cash. But really, I was in a Ford Escort with a bunch of hamsters on wheels and duct tape. When I looked under the hood, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going 20 miles an hour, not 120. And but because I was making a good enough living off the profits, that I thought I was fine. And what I heard from Google and my own team, and I started to triangulate, is this is not a sustainable model. I'll be out of business in 1 to 2 years. So I changed to a specialization model. We revamped our services. I just rebuilt the company for a year in 2013. The downside is I had 100% employee turnover for 2 years in a row, 13 and 14, as I rebuilt the team. Because at first I just replaced the people that left with anybody with a heartbeat or a pulse.
Sure.
And that didn't work. And then we started to get more and more better and better people that cared more and more and fit the credo. We hired towards, I'm in it because I have the passion, I have the commitment, I have a growth mindset. That's not what I had before, and it's not their fault. I changed the rules. For some of my team have been with me for 10 years in the world of digital, from intern to vice president, and they burned out, or they decided they want something different. That's fair. That's fine. It's heartbreaking when you have to build this talent, like Pete Carroll, the coach of the Seahawks, is like, my job is to graduate the best athletes on the planet through the Seahawks. I'm like, that's great when you have about 10 million people that want to join your team and have good skills. and he gets to pick the exceptional people. And I don't necessarily have that benefit. And I've been an adjunct professor at Portland State for 22 years, and I have hired a lot through my search marketing workshop, but even that isn't enough, right? So the biggest thing was talent, and then the Portlandia thing of in Portland, maybe I paid them too much, I don't know, but they felt very comfortable. And then to your point, massive competition, and then the other part is more automation made it more approachable for clients to bring some of that in house, and then more poaching of our talent, and just generally sophistication of clients grew significantly. I remember I was watching sitting at a lunch at a conference in my industry, SMX, and the guy next to me was the head of Home Depot Digital, and he was to me talking a foreign language. And at that point, I'd already been in 12, 13 years in digital. I didn't even know what he was talking about. And I was like,
Wow.
that was my first sign. Then certain people started to leave and were saying things, and Google or reps were saying your ads configurations are dated and wrong. I've never really trusted Google's analysis, but I think the point was there, which is we were antiquated. Again, the profitability is what kept me on the back of my heels. I wasn't fighting for it.
Innovating, yeah. So you said something very interesting there. So about the metaverse, about the Web3, and I know I have a little bit of inside knowledge here because that's where we met. You were talking about the metaverse in Philadelphia at the Digital Summit. Do you think that's the future, or do you think that's kind of a parallel future, or do you think that's kind of just another avenue?
There's what I think and what I hope. What I think is that it will be significant, meaningful, but I also think it won't be the game changer that everybody thinks it is for the reasons you saw me talk about. I know that's what I know, and then I guess what I hope is that it's a little bit bigger than that, but in a really meaningful way. So I'd say, for instance, a lot of social is kind of garbage. In terms of how we spend our time, the kind of hate that my friends and family unfriending, like it's just not good. And so, Facebook's done a lot of damage, and others too, or just you're wasting your time. Now, there's a lot of interesting, Twitter can be used for amazing things like the Arab Spring and so forth. And then it could be used for the Elon Musks of the world and the Trumps of the world, where I'm not sure if they're doing anything good here. So, I guess what I'm thinking about Web3 is the potential of the metaverse is really interesting, but I don't think it will be nearly as big as we think it is. I think augmented reality will be bigger, and gaming will be far larger. And that's where everybody's going to live, is in the games, because it's more fun. I don't want to wear a headset for 10 hours or 4 hours or 2 hours when I don't have to. And people, the research is showing people need face-to-face. The Zoom fatigue is real. It's like a condition. And the metaverse isn't going to make that better in my mind. I'm not a scientist or a behavioral psychologist, but I just know, and based on some of the studies that have happened, is it doesn't increase your productivity, your mental, safety or well-being, and then you're just going to sit on a couch and get fat. I don't know. So we'll see. But I think, again, and then there's crypto. I might be down on crypto now until they figure it out and rebounds, because right now it's deeply disappointing. So I think it's really, AR is my happy place, and I see there's huge utility in AR. There's mixed utility in the mixed world of XR, extended reality, of VR, AR, real world. I think when that gets more seamless, it could be very interesting. But for now, it's more of it's a parlor trick for now.
So what is PDX Mindshare? I mean, I'm kind of getting off of the metaverse.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this.
So PDX Mindshare was this idea of back in '99. I have got a bunch of the boys together, and I'll get to the point of that, Olivia, in a second, which was we were all making good money before the crash and doing internet stuff. I wanted an excuse to drink bourbon. And, some of the guys, maybe they want to smoke a cigar. So once a month, I thought we'd pontificate about the future of the internet and do a brain trust, a mind share. And I tried one, and like 3 people out of 15 showed up, and they were just too busy. And then 9 months later, the economy crashed, and they all reached out and said, when are we doing that mind share thing again? We all need jobs. And so it took me about a year. So the fall of 2001, I said, well, let's get together in person. And let's open up. I want the best in business. I don't care if they're men, women. I don't know who it is. I care. So I got the smartest people I knew that should know each other, but probably didn't, in Portland. And we all went to a local Irish bar. And we got together and just sat and had a beverage and just chatted, got to know each other. And everybody was like, that was awesome. When's the next one? I was like, same time next month? I don't know. So that started basically in '02, and it went as a, 5:30 to 8:30 um, every third Wednesday for about 15 years. I got married, had kids, people got older, other people came in, things started to change. So we moved about 10 years into that into these little workshops because people kept saying, okay, so what are we doing here? Is there a workshop? And I was like, well, the point is we're that one collection place where every month you say, I'll just see you at Mindshare and we'll catch up and you'll meet people you didn't know. And there's an industry for every one of your industries that you should go do the learning events at. Eventually I broke down and said, okay, let's do career learning events. So, mindfulness and resume and interview and all that. We did these workshops in person. Then after a while, it was like, it was based on what I could get my team to do to help me. And there was turnover and there was burnout. So we just went to webinars and podcasts. And then I basically retired it just to a monthly newsletter. It used to be a weekly, here are the jobs, here are the events in Portland, help you grow your network. Now it's a big LinkedIn group and a monthly newsletter until we rebirth it again. It just continues to evolve.
That's amazing, though. That's the evolution of a group.
Well, here's a little side note. The biggest claim to fame of Mindshare is that I reached out to Seth Godin cold intro to see if he would keynote at a conference here in Portland because I know he will come through on a book tour, and we're talking 12, 14 years ago, and he said, well, I'll see if I can work in the book tour, and then we started talking, and then I was like, we could promote this event through PDX Mindshare. He's like, what's that? And I just explained what I explained to you. And he said, so you don't have a business model for that? I was like, no, not really. I was just trying to help people. And then it's evolved. The business model keeps evolving from, beer money when people post a job or sponsor an event or whatever to not much ever more than that. But that wasn't the point, right? It was always under Anvil. And he wrote a blog post about it called No Business Model, which his point was, it's okay to start something without a clear business model and see what the reaction is, right? Fail fast. And he didn't even mention fail. He just said evolve quickly. And so that was a huge win for me. And then I parlayed that conversation into a lunch with him in Midtown Manhattan a year later when I was at a conference. And 2 hours he spent with me over lunch.
That's
brilliant.
The most impactful of my entire career. He's an amazing, amazing person.
Just because his name's Seth.
Seth Godin. Yeah. He's kind of a marketing guy or something. Wrote a book about a cow or something.
Yeah, probably a low-level marketing guru.
Yeah, whatever. He's whatever. Let's talk about calculus. And why do you hate it? On your LinkedIn profile, you mentioned that you did not survive calculus in high school, and you didn't do thermodynamics.
Oh my gosh! So that's funny you found that. It's just a little, obviously a joke. But I dropped calculus in high school senior year because I didn't need it, and I was getting a C-. It was going to screw up my GPA. So then naturally I did the next best thing, which is take it first quarter of freshman year before I'd really discovered things like alcohol and girls. And I got like a C- all the way. I saw it the same grade all the way through, but in college when it counted, and I got a D in Japanese and I got like a B in something. I mean, I screwed my GPA for 4 years, as I learned later in statistics class. I couldn't get into business school without turning that C- into an A-. I had to take calculus a third time. And it's my greatest, if Seth Godin was one of my greatest career experiences, I hate to say it, but calculus was my single greatest academic accomplishment, was getting an A in a subject that I struggle in a particular subset that is absolutely freaking useless for all but 3% of the population. I've never used it since. But I actually, for the first time in my life, rolled up my short sleeves and studied it and learned it enough to do okay. And I was like, I did that just to get into business school. It's the only reason I had to take it a third time.
There you go.
That's
so
why
Ken, I know we're kind of getting close to time here. Where can people find you online? Like, where's the best place? Where does Kent hang out besides the Metaverse?
Right, exactly. So I think the best place would be on Twitter. At Kent J. Lewis is my business profile on Twitter. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm one of the first million-ish, they tell me, on LinkedIn. So I'm just /Kent Lewis, /Kent Lewis. And I post, probably 10 to 15 times a day on LinkedIn and Twitter, the same content. So pick a channel. You don't need to do both. Um, and then, for fun, you can check me out on Instagram. I think same thing, Kent J. Lewis. Even though I own some of the Kent Lewis handles, I just to park him. Anyway, so those are the best places. Then Deksia, DEKSIA.com, and/or for the next 30 to 90 days. For the next year, we'll have AnvilMediaInc.com, but we'll be sunsetting the Anvil brand and moving all that energy over to Deksia in the next couple months.
Well, Kent, this has been so much fun.
I appreciate it. This has been great. Great question.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was really great talking with you.
And next time you're in Philadelphia, we'll go get cheesesteaks, all three of us.
For
real, I will be ready. And when you come to Portland, whenever you've created a reason, there's still some great food here, believe it or not.
Hey, that's it for today's episode of Digital Marketing Dive. Our show was edited and produced by Seth Goldstein, with a little help from me, Olivia Cizzini. We are so thrilled to be part of the MPN podcasting family. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you're currently listening to this podcast. And if you like what you heard, drop us a review. It really helps us a lot. Until next time.
Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode. This podcast is one of the many great shows on the MPN Marketing Podcast Network.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.